China being an authoritarian nation trying to enforce their autocracy over Taiwan's democratically elected government. This time China is not in mood to let go of Taiwan because through Taiwan they can implement their superpower image at least on Asia. They have already set their goal to challenge the America's economical and the military power because America is the only superpower in today's time who is dominating the world economically and the militarily. And they think they can make their dream true through Taiwan by capturing the Taiwans, by capturing the democratically elected government of the Taiwan. But from which source they are drawing their inspirations? They are drawing their inspiration from Hong Kong because they enforce an authoritarian law on Hong Kong by manipulating the Hong Kong political system, like the way they are trying to manipulate the Taiwan's political system. The Hong Kong is no longer an independent state within the Chinese territory. They also have captured the Tibet. They have also have captured the Xinjiang. Now they are also trying to capture the South China Sea region. And now by capturing the Taiwan, they want to set themselves as a superpower of the world. They want to capture all the businesses within the Taiwan, all the business houses of the Taiwan. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Power Academy. Here in this topic, we will going to discuss the China-Taiwan feud. What are the reasons behind it? How USA is helping Taiwan to deter against Chinese aggressions. And at last, we will going to give the importance how the Taiwan is so important to the world economy. So let's start our discussions with a question. And the question is, what is the history? What is the history behind the China and the Taiwan feud? The feud started when the China got independence from Empire of Japan after World War II around 1949. Then China witnessed a gruesome civil war. The civil war happened between the communist-led Mao Zedong and Kuomintang-led Chiang Kai-shek. When the civil war ended, Chiang Kai-shek lost his battle and fled to Formosa. Later Formosa changed its name to Taiwan. After civil war, the relationship between China and Taiwan remained in the strained state. It was remained strained until Chiang Kai-shek died on the year 1975. But relationship between China and the Taiwan started improving in 1980s because China forwarded a formula, the formula known as one country, two system. Under that formula, Taiwan could be given significant autonomy if it accepted the Chinese reunification. The system was established in Hong Kong to be used as something of a showcase to entice the Taiwanese people back to the mainland. But Taiwan rejected that offer amicably. Although they set up a good relationship with China, they relaxes the rules on the visitors to and the investment in China. The Taiwanese companies invested heavily within the China. The Taiwanese companies have invested $60 billion within the China. Within the Chinese territory, within the mainland China. That is why sometimes the Taiwanese population raised the questions that how they are independent, they are economically dependent on China. In 1991, Taiwan proclaimed the war with the People's Republic of China on the mainland to be over. They wanted to deal with the China economically. They want the peace. So to maintain the peace, they have to deal with economically. That is why in 1991, China proclaimed that the war with the mainland is over. Now they want the peace, and the peace was sustained. But the main problem happened in 2000s. What happened in the 2000s? When the Taiwan elected the Chen Shui-bian as president, the Beijing was alarmed about the move because Mr. Chen had openly backed the independence from the mainland. A year after Mr. Chen was re-elected, again in the 2004, then the China hurriedly passed a so-called anti-secession law, stating that the China's right to use the non-peaceful means against the Taiwan if it tried to secede from the China. So if the Taiwan was trying to declare themselves as a democratically elected nations, then the China have the right to engage with the Taiwan militarily through this law, through this anti-secession law. And that time, the Taiwan was trying to ceded from the China, from the Chinese bag. However, in 2008, Mr. Chen was succeeded by Ma Yangzhu, and he sought to improve the relationship with the China through the economic agreements. At that time, in 2008 to 2015, the relationship between the China and the Taiwan was peaceful. But 8 years later, in 2016, the Taiwan's current president, Tsai Ing-wen, was elected. She was the leader from the Democratic Progressive Party, which leans towards the official independence from China. This Democratic Progressive Party wants the full independence of Taiwan from Chinese clutches. But during the Donald Trump presidency, the freedom movements within the Taiwan got its pets. So the relationship between the Taiwan and the China got in the VAT shape. The US had pleaded to supply Taiwan with defensive weapons. USA also expressed their grave concern against the Chinese aggression. China in 2018 stepped up pressure on international companies, forcing them to list Taiwan as the part of the China on their websites. China also threatened them to block them for doing the businesses in China if they comply to implement the Chinese policy. Between these events in the 2020, Mr. Tsai again won the elections and elected as a president. By that time, the Hong Kong had seen the months of unrest. The China's implementations of national security law, Hong Kong was already under the clutches of the China. The Hong Kong was widely as set as another sign that the Beijing was coming more assertive in the region. So after Hong Kong, the Beijing now pool all the resources to capture the Taiwan right now. So the Taiwan is in grave danger, and the United States is trying to save the Taiwan from the clutches of the China. And United States is also trying to save the North China region and the North China Sea region and the South China Sea region that the China claimed as their own. And also the United States is also trying to protect the Taiwan from sea. So at the same time, US has been intensifying its outreach to Taiwan and reassuring Taipei of its continuous support. The US also sent highest level State Department officials in the island. The Beijing strongly criticized the meeting, and they also warned the US not to send any wrong signal to Taiwanese independence elements. They warned USA by saying that it will going to hamper the US-China relationship. Now Joe Biden, the new US president, said its commitment to the Taiwan is rock solid. And the president also told that if the China attack Taiwan, the USA is bound to protect the sovereignty of Taiwan. Because USA said USA itself is a democracy and the Taiwan is a democracy. It is the duty of a democracy to protect the another democracy. Now the China is violating the Taiwan's airspace by sending the fighter jets and the bombers over the Taiwan's air defense zone. The China is also sending the warship in Taiwan Strait and violating the exclusive economic zone rules enlisted by the United Nations. So last year, China sent about 150 warplanes in Taiwan's air defense identification zone. And at the start of the 2022, the China again sent 30 fighters jets within the Taiwan's air defense identification zone. This time, Taiwan responded by scrambling their fighter jet, by scrambling their F-16, and by installing their air defense systems on the border of Taiwan. The F-16s they got from USA, and the air defense system they also bought from USA too. The President Tsai also wrote to the people of Taiwan by sending the warning message to China that Taiwan would defend its own territory whatever it takes, because fall of Taiwan means the world will going to face catastrophic consequences, because this will be the loss of a democracy over the hand of an autocratic nation. The Taiwan now started buying the weapons especially from US. Taiwan has also lobbied for intelligence and the logistic support from other nations. Taiwan is deepening its ties with the government of the USA, European Union nations, Australia, Japan and India. To boost the defense against aggressive China, US approves $100 million support deal with Taiwan. That includes the sale of equipment and the services. As per the agreement, the US will help the Taiwan in maintaining its existing air defense missiles and the US-made Patriot missiles. So within that $100 million deal, the US companies has agreed to provide the modern F-16 fighter jets to Taiwan and a modern F-16 Patriot missiles for the Taiwanese defense systems. They are trying to upgrade the Taiwan's defense systems because the Chinese weapons are not that good as the other nations have, because the Chinese weapons are copied from the other nations, especially the Russia. They copied the system, all the system, they cloned all the system from the Russian systems. Whatever the clones they have, they are not as good as the Americans. That is why the China is not militarily powerful. And they are now trying to make themselves militarily powerful by showing their power against the Taiwan, against the tiny nations, against the democratic country. The Taiwan is a very important nation for the world. Taiwan is very important for their democracy because Taiwan is an democracy which facing an authoritarian regime of the China. The Taiwan represents the dynamic free market democracy. The country is the symbol of the free democracy and inspiration for the countries, those who are facing the democratic challenges within their political boundary. Like the Myanmar have seen the problems within their country. The army is trying to control the Myanmar. The Mali is also seeing it. Burkina Faso is also seeing that. Ethiopia is also seeing these kind of problems. So the Taiwan is the symbol for those countries' populations, those who are living over there. And the Taiwan's biggest asset is its semiconductor and the chip making industry. They have achieved a great feat by developing this industry, and their industry provides the semiconductor chips in and around the world. They are also providing the jobs, millions of jobs to the millions of populations, because they have diversified their manufacturing bases. And if this semiconductor industry goes into the hand of the China, then the world will suffer a massive consequences, and the world will going to see a massive job losses because of the Chinese aggression. As I said that the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company has diversified their manufacturing bases, so they are installing their manufacturing base in India, in Europe, in America, in Japan, so they can be helpful for the Taiwanese government when the China will going to capture the Taiwan. So they will going to helpful for the Taiwanese government at the time of the need. So it is the duty of the world to save the Taiwan from Chinese hand for the sake of the peace, for the sake of the democracy, and for the sake of the economy. And the world have to take the responsibility to save the Taiwan from an authoritarian regime. Because if an authoritarian regimes have been able to capture such a democratically vibrant country, then it will be a shameful moment for the world. So now we have reached the question part. The first question is, which is the host country of African Union Summit 2022? First option is Zimbabwe, second is Mali, third is Ethiopia, fourth is Gambia. The second question is, Sergio Mattarella has been elected as the president of which country for the second term? First is Brazil, second is Italy, third is France, fourth is Spain. If anyone have any questions or any doubt regarding this topic, then you can mail me, and my email address is tuhin.power.academy@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.